Okay, guys. So I got this book, Quantum Physics for my kids, Quantum Physics for Babies. And it was actually extremely illuminating. I'm not really into my hair right now, but this is not what this is about, okay? So I'm going to read this to you and then share with you some revelation that I got. So this is a ball, and this ball has energy. This is a ball, and this ball has no energy. We'll get to that in a second. Okay, so every ball is made of atoms. There are neutrons, the purple ones, protons, the red ones, and electrons, which are those green ones that are circling around the middle. But oops, I skipped a page. Electrons can be here on that line or here on that next line or up there on the top, but it cannot be not on a line. When I did chemistry, my teacher taught us about this from the perspective of like in an amphitheater, the rows of seating in an amphitheater, and you have to sit in a chair. So like those three lines are where the different seating options are, but you cannot pick in the middle. Which, by the way, there's so much here. I don't even know if I'm right. I'm just totally going off of what I know. And it cannot be here, over there. It cannot be over here, okay? It has to be on a line. So it says all of these electrons, all electrons have energy. They all do, and they're on a line somewhere. This electron has the most energy at the top. And then the one closest to the middle has the least amount of energy. There are no electrons with zero energy. This energy is quantized, which, by the way, I still need to look up that because I've never heard quantum or heard it in that word, quantized. An electron can take energy to jump up. So an electron can take energy from outside of itself to jump up onto that top line, which then it's the most powerful. It has the most energy when it's able to move up to that far out seat. The amount of energy is a quantum. Boom, now we're quantum physicists. Feels good, right? Okay, so back to this. An electron can take energy to jump up. So if there's a video I have set that says, it's titled, "Are Electrons Mini Angels?" or like, "Are they quantum angels?" Because in the like background that in the Christian narrative, it's like, you know, there are angels that are working for you and blah blah blah. And then when you learn about quantum physics and the observer effect, it's saying that all electrons they can either be sporadic or they can be in a wave function. And they're both particles and waves at the same time. And the observer effect was this crazy trippy experiment where they realized that the electrons were lining up according to how the electrons perceived they were supposed to be lining up when they were being watched, when they were being observed. And if they weren't being observed, they're just like dee dee dee, like all over the place. What a trip, first of all. That means that all of these little electrons have consciousness. If they can perceive that they're supposed to be doing something and supposed to be acting in a certain kind of way, if they can perceive that they're supposed to be acting in a kind of way, that means that they have consciousness. How do they know what the person looking at them thinks that they ought to be doing? You know what I'm saying? How do the electrons know that the observer, A, how do they know they're watching? How do they know? And then B, how do they know that, like, oh, the observer is expecting me to line up right now? Like, the observer is expecting me to be in a line. How do they know that? Why do they care? Why do they do it then when they're being watched? Are they like our little tiny particles of intention, and they're like and you know what else, it gives me the image of I've said this before in one of my podcast episodes, like that I kind of picture them as the little like what are they called, those little yellow guys that are like goofy Disney characters. And I'm pretty sure that's like they're like actually like with a bad guy. I've never seen the movie, but I've seen the little yellow guys all over the place, and they're like doiky doiky doik, but they're like also his little assistants. I feel like that's like electrons. They're kind of like these goofy little particles that are just running around. They have all this energy like a toddler, and they just need to be directed by our intention, our instruction, and by what we focus on. What we focus on expands. Okay, so when it says that when it says that an electron can take energy to jump up to the higher level of energy, then it got me thinking about how, because I've been just talking and learning about how Neville Goddard did a lot of teaching, and he does it straight from Bible. So if you guys think he's bad, then I don't know what everybody wants. But so the whole getting into the feeling of the wish fulfilled. We are all like radio signals. Physics has taught us a lot about this. Like we're all sending out vibrations. We are, and it's, in spirit, in this Christian spiritual language, it's all saying the same thing. It's just different words. It's just different language. Like the creation is the universe. And so anywho's, I'm sure that people are using it for the wrong motives and whatever, but like people are using Christianity for the wrong motives too. So like that's why it says that he looks at the heart, because he's like, I know what your intentions and your motives are. Somebody can use religion for wrong, and somebody could also use like this power, these laws of the universe for wrong. And they are, by the way. So if anybody ought to freaking learn this stuff, it's those of us who actually have like a pure heart, so that we can take the knowledge and we can progress, because otherwise they're just using it to enslave us. Like it says that it literally says that it is pretty much like the privilege of kings to search out a matter and to figure it out. So here we are. Okay. So this makes so much sense, because it makes me think about when it says that an electron can be, it cannot be in the outside of a line. It can't be there and it cannot be there. It has to be on one of these. So then it makes me realize, like, so it needs a certain level of energy to jump from one place to the other. So then I'm like, that's why we like meditate, we visualize, we script, we write things down to send out, because we're all radio signals, we're all vibing on a certain frequency, and we need to send out enough energy from ourselves to the electron so that it can take the energy and jump and literally line up the 3D in the 3D, line up with itself and its counterparts to manifest, to make it show whatever it is that we are choosing to focus on. And here's the thing, like, I'm not saying that like a relationship with God is not important, because it is important. You have to heal, otherwise you'll manifest from like a place of brokenness. For an example of this is like, I had a bad relationship experience, so I'm just going to be ice queen. I'm just going to be alone forever. I'm just going to not partake in any sort of relational risk. And then some really wise person was like, oh, okay, so you're just pretty much, she didn't say it in a sarcastic way. She said it in a really kind way, but she was like, so you just are going to pretty much like deny yourself human needs, like human requirements. And like we're designed to be. And I'm like, So anyway, and then it's incredible, because as soon as I caught that revelation, thanks to her, and changed my perspective, I was like, okay, you know what? No, I can believe that there will be a good relationship that's healthy and worth it, and it could flow right, And as soon as I start doing that, everything in my 3D starts changing, like shifting in a good way. So anyway, we must pay attention to the thoughts that we're thinking, to the energy that we are allowing to reside. We got to heal, like, and then even things like being aware of when you, whatever you do, if it causes your mind to slip, if you do a thing that causes your mind to slip, it could be anything from escapism, reels, it could be social media, it could be watching whatever, like binging on TV, or it could be like substances. If there's something that takes you out of your consciousness long enough that it's adjusting and impacting and bringing down the radio station that is projecting a hope-filled, positive, like abundant, excited, healthy frequency, if whatever you're doing brings you out of that, you got to cut that shit out, because we have to give the electrons energy to jump into the most powerful and well, either way, like they're gonna have energy. So it's like, what are we sending to them? What are we observing? What are we saying to them that should be? Because the thing about the observer effect, and that experiment, is that they lined up in a way that they perceived they were supposed to be. So that means that somehow they had consciousness to like, they were somehow aware of what they were supposed to be doing. Who said it? The scientists. The scientists were expecting them to line up because it was a slit experiment. And until they were like being watched on the other side of the thing that had the slit in it, they were just like bouncing around all around behind there. But then when like somebody checked on them, they were like, oh shoot, we're supposed to line up. How do they know that? Anyway, be aware of what you are sending out. Choose to figure out how to do this thing where you like believe, order up, say it is so, get excited about it, and then detach, surrender, and let it come. You know, let the electrons do their work. And if you feel like you are not sending out a signal that's consistent, then you write, you script out what it is and you read it every so often, so that your signal, the song that you're playing, it's kind of like a cell phone, like you need to have good service, and in order to have a good service, you have to keep the signal consistent. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed Quantum Physics for Babies, and I just want to thank Chris Ferry for this, because I got some quantum giant level revelation from this. Quantum and giant at the same time. So yeah, be blessed, be well, be free.